Hey guys, and welcome back to the Hobby Dude 007 channel. Well, this is part 2 of our Don Garlett's Drag Pack Dodge Challenger. We've got our roll cage finished, and I want to go back and show you how we did that. And we've got a lot of it, as you can see here, in primer, including the body, but we've got a few other things to do, and I want to get your opinion on something before I proceed any further anyway. So stick around. Starting up front, we're going to take a look at the engine here. I've got the block painted in Hemi Orange. See the white oil filter. I've got a wash on the all-clad aluminum on the oil pan and the transmission. I think that looks pretty good. The pulleys and belts. Now the belts are painted semi-gloss black, and I went over with Testors Clear the pulleys with a toothpick and just put some gloss over those, just clear gloss. So you got the gloss black pulleys there. And of course we're going to be, I've got to do a lot of modifying to our intake there. But I think this is looking pretty good. And as you see in these pictures, I've got the valve covers and the coil packs almost done. And you see the carbon fiber decals that'll be going on that. And I think this is going to look pretty good. Next is, I've got a great set of 3D printed headers. Are those not sweet? And I think these are going to look really, of course they're not painted yet. I'm going to have them all heat stained up. But I think those are going to look good. Certainly beat the stock headers that come with it. Moving on to the interior. You know what, before I get to that roll cage, let me show you this real quick. The dash, let me find my pointer. You remember we had this center piece here puttied in, and we're going to have a carbon fiber. In fact, there's my decal, but I'm going to have a panel over it with a carbon fiber on it. So we'll have a carbon fiber piece here. And that will be on, hold on a minute. This might be easier. There is our hot rod. There's our, well, you see how the instrument cluster is. All that's being replaced are going to be covered up with this panel. And that'll have carbon fiber over it. And then we'll have our gauge right there. This will be over here. And that, again, will be replacing all of this. And, of course, that panel, this panel right here, carbon fiber, will be on this piece of plastic, and that will be here. And then on the console, the piece on the console there, that's what this carbon fiber is going to go on this. And getting back to the dash, let me get this back up here. Getting back to the dash, you know, because we're doing a modified drag car, we've just modified the dash. You notice the vents, all the air conditioning, heating vents here have been removed, filled in. Same thing here. And on this side, all of that has been filled in and removed. There's no glove box, so that's all filled in as well. And then there'll be, when that carbon fiber piece is here, there'll be a gauge, switches, whatever. They'll be right here. Anyway, but I think this is coming along very nicely. You'll see this probably first up in the next video will be finished. The interior, we talked about having to build that roll cage, and as you see here, here's pictures of the real car. And here's some pictures of it under construction. And to get this X bar right here, this is all we did, guys. This is 62 thousandths evergreen rod. I think it's number 212. Let me take a look real quick. I don't want to get it wrong. 222 evergreen rod number 222. Stock cars, I think it's what I use 212 for, or a mix of them. But 62 thousandths, And as you see in this video, I took one of my jeweler's files and I just simply cut halfway through both, overlaid them as you see here, used Tamiya extra thin cement, just dropped it down on there and let it glue together on a capillary action. And once that was cured, put it back in, attached it up here and in the floor, and let it cure. And you'll notice these sidebars right here. You'll see, here's a picture of the real car with those. And just added those back. And of course we added the bars here. And for the interior, you see I had to kind of bow that just slightly for the door panels, because this is kind of a super stock kind of thing. So I didn't want to get too carried away with it. Remember, this project was supposed to be a quick and easy, but I am turning it into something far worse. And of course, you see the holes there. Well, of course, when the interior is in place, you see how that just fills, these wheel wells just drop right up in there. Well, if you can see them, if the light will cooperate there. There you go. You can see that just drops right up in there. So that's looking pretty good too. I'm kind of pleased with the way this looks. And as you see, let me take this off, in the car, of course I test fit this several times, looks really good. Kind of hard to see up in there. And then you can see in the back window. But I think it's coming along really nice. Got everything, most everything in primer. I think everything for the entire car is in primer. I've just got to start getting color on it, which that's something we'll get done too. But everything I think is looking really, really good on this. That drag pack hood, looking really good in primer. And this will be gloss black, and we'll be hitting that here shortly too. For the tires and wheels, a couple of people said, what are you going to do for those? Well, I dug through my tires and wheels box, and I came up with these. And I think these are perfect, because these are not the low profile like what comes on the street car. These are big old honky tires. So, and for the slicks, I found these, and these are sticker brand spanking new Goodyears. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I love this picture right here. As you see, those are Hoosier drag slicks. Now, there's plenty of pictures of this car running with the Goodyears. But, oh man, I like those great big Hoosiers. So what I may do is alter the stickers and still make them brand new tires, brand new slicks with the stickers on them. But I may convert these, take this and get all this off too. I'll take all this off, and I've got the stencils, remember, from Replicas and Miniatures of Maryland Company, and go ahead and redo those in Hoosier. I just like the look of that. I mean, it's cool. It's cool. About everything else is done, but this is what I wanted to ask you guys. I've already turned this into more than it's supposed to be. And the more I look at these pictures right here, as you see the fuel cell, the batteries, or the battery, I'm thinking, man, that trunk would look good propped open so you could see this fuel cell, and I'll scratch out one of those and get a battery back there. And but do I really need to do that? Moving back over to the body, by the way, I'm going to be filling in right here, because this thing had the Zeus fasteners, 3 down each side and 3 across the front. And that's just a bad looking little body there. But I went ahead and filled in, remember those, where those spaces were for the exhausts? Well, you can see a little bit there. Here and here, I filled that in where the exhaust would have come out, since this is a drag pack and it's got just the straight headers. I think that turned out well. But if I open this trunk, it's going to add a lot of time, and I've got to rebuild all of the stuff that's in the trunk, the floor panel, all of that stuff for accuracy. I love research. I love accuracy in the builds. I've got some shaping to do back here too. But should I open the trunk, guys? I mean, like I said, it's going to add a little more time to the build. But the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking, boy, that sure would look sharp. But if I do that, here's something I noticed. In these pictures of inside the trunk again, you notice on the inside, where the battery and fuel cell are, the shape of what you see here is in here. Well, that's not a real difficult thing to do. Remember how I did floor pans before? Take a piece of that old lasagna pan that I've had for eons, and I cut out a small piece of it. And if you remember how I straightened that out, got all the wrinkles and stuff out of it. Well, I've already cut it to the shape that it will drop in here. I'll just need to, once the shape's in it, I'll round it off and cut it to the right size. Of course, there'll be sheet plastic covering all of this. But after, by the way, after I do that, so this is not flimsy and crushable, I'll take 5-minute epoxy and I'll run a small thing with a toothpick and a Q-tip on the back. And of course, when it hardens, it's fine. And that will sit down in there and it will replicate this. And if you don't remember how we did that, basically, we just hold this over it and start mashing down. You see the shape starting to come through. I just got to make sure I keep it very, very still. And as I go through this, the more and more I do this, then I'm going to take a Q-tip and I'm really going to start digging down into it. Starting to see. And once this is all done, this will be the bottom. Now that I've got the general shape in here, I can go back in this very easy. Start to see there? And then, this being the bottom, all I got to do is turn it over. And then when we get it put in here, I'll cut it to the exact shape. That way, where the fuel cell sits on it and the battery sits here, you'll be able to see that design. So I'll finish that up and just have it sitting aside. But my big thing is, do I really want to get into all of this? Or do I just want to go ahead and do this one with the hood off and the engine detail and the interior detail and all that stuff? But that's really how you would replicate all that in the trunk and keep it accurate. Right there. And just the more you burnish, guys, the more you work on it, the more the details come through. For example, you're starting to see those come through there. See that? All that's starting to come through there. And like I said, once we get it done, then we just flip that over and put it on the inside. But put in the comments what you think. Open it or not. If I do, there's a lot of work back here too, because the tail lights, let me stick this on here, I've got to replicate all of that metal work under the deck lid. The tail lights, even though the trunk lid comes to here, it's not one of those things where you just cut it right here, because the tail lights come to here. So even when that's cut off, the tail light section is going to have to come to right about here on both sides, and then that metal work all up underneath is going to have to be made, which is not really all that big a deal. I've done it before, and you've seen it in some of my other builds. But it'll be kind of fun, but at the same time, originally I was planning on it just being nice, the scratch-built interior, the engine bay, and then have the hood sitting, as you see in the picture here, with the hood sitting on the roof or sitting beside the car, either way. Man, I love those Challenger bodies. Just a cool body. Anyway, guys, I think that's about it for this go round. I'm going to go ahead and get the color on the interior, maybe some of the color on the body, start doing some modifications, things like that. May go ahead and finish this up just to have it set aside, because that won't take but a minute. Get back on the dash, and next time, and by the way, this video is about a day and a half behind. We have that show in Statesville, North Carolina, the Fast Tracks show in Statesville, North Carolina this weekend, and I've been prepping some cars to take to it, and I was going to try to get my 32nd scale Nova done, and I don't think the hood's going to be ready in time. But anyway, I've got a few others I'm going to take anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But so I'm a little behind on this one, but when you see this one again, like I said, it'll be much further along, and it won't be that much further down the road. Well, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you more than you know. If you're not a subscriber, head over, give us a sub, give us a like, and we appreciate it very much. Head over to the Teespring store. Check out what's going on. There's been a lot of movement over there lately, and I really, really, really appreciate it, guys. Very much. The link is in the description of this video. Guys, God bless. Have an awesome one. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.